So the time dilation or something is a long time after the books carry on or something.
Oh,
And lots have happened.
the thing is, in the actual show, like the bit where they go from one place to another,
Yeah.
and it takes like 6 months in the book.
Yeah.
But it's hand waved. It's hand waved to 6 months.
Yeah.
I think it'd be rude not to.
All right. Quick recap. So, character creation last week. Everybody has a little character. A decent mix of skills. You might be missing a few things, so you might want to think about as and when you get a ship, if you need to add any specific software to the ship to augment some of your skills. You were contacted, I think, Brent, by an old associate of yours. No, that's not quite how it started, was it? It was
Anders Kasari.
Anders Kasari reached out to you and invited you to visit him in the government district of the Flammarion High Port. You'd never heard of the gentleman before, and then when you went to meet him, you discovered that it was an old. You had a mutual associate named Sorrel Tergale.
That's right.
And it was Sorrel, a female researcher that you met during your early years as a scholar, that had introduced you to Anders Kasari. Anders had a small job for you. Simple, straightforward retrieve and return of a scout ship. A duty scout courier ship that was located in Woolston, or damned at Woolston, approximately 4 parsecs away from your current location, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 4 parsecs away. Each hex being a parsec. And you were tasked with going to Woolston, fixing the ship, and flying it back. Simple, straightforward job. You were each offered 1,000 credits expenses and 1,000 credits up front, plus vouchers for refueling at Askeltine and Bowman if you need it, and tickets to act as a passenger on a Type 2A far trader called Autumn Gold, under the auspices of a Captain Michelle Corelli. And we talked about mandolins and things like that.
Yeah.
Captain Michelle's mandolin.
Yes. And that's kind of where we left it last session. The ship was going to depart tomorrow, and so you kind of had the rest of the day to get anything you felt you needed and get yourself to the spaceport, where you can pick up your berth on board the Autumn Gold ahead of its departure for Elizabeth.
Got a problem. My document that I had my equipment on hasn't saved properly.
Oh no!
That's not good.
Oh no!
Winnie!
No, I'm going to open the floor to yourselves, to your good selves, to decide what you wish to do.
Is there any equipment that we're missing then? We've got our stuff. And do we need a computer, for example? Because if we've got 1,000 credits to outfit, and we've got our own gear already, and we've got the tools from them, were computers part of the tools?
Well, I've got
You
my-
have all the equipment you need to in I believe it's in 3 flight cases
That's right.
that you would need to fix the ship. So that would be diagnostics, terminals, spare parts, etc.
Right.
And I've got a scientific toolkit, so I'm okay there.
You have a scientific tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I assumed that we'd have all the things we needed, so I didn't buy anything like that.
Yeah, you
I
have
got the most-
everything. Yeah.
I got the most essential one. I bought duct tape.
I saw that. I thought that was pretty cool. Everybody needs a couple of reels of duct tape. There'll probably be a couple of reels of duct tape in the one of the flight cases anyway, but it's always good to have more duct tape. 30 meters by, I think it's 5 centimeters.
Duct tape and WD-40 on your side.
Yeah, and
Yep.
a bath.
No, that's a different thing that he uses.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can improvise a bath.
Yeah.
And a bath, yeah. Anything else you want to do ahead of, otherwise we'll get you down to the space dock and get you to the Autumn Gold.
Yeah, they've given us the schematics and everything to study to
Correct, yes.
get the layout of the ship and what's needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've got everything I can use and need.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else I need.
Okay, so actually you've got 4 flight cases. You've got 3 flight cases full of circuit panels, tools for swapping them out, and then separately a portable diagnostic software download unit that's the size of the other cases. So technically it's 4 things you have.
Right, okay. Yeah, check through them all to make sure everything's there that we know, and to make sure that if something happens, we know what we need to replace.
Yeah.
So with going on a ship, it's like, yeah, how often does luggage go missing? This is the type of luggage we don't want to lose.
No, I do.
Yeah,
probably sit
you
on-
can catalog what you have. That's not a problem. To those of you with engineering skills, to your eyes, it's absolutely standard, straightforward kind of ship parts.
Yeah. Oh,
Right, in which case, I think we go to
Mechanic.
the nearest bar, have a drink, and then go to the ship.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, so the following day you head to the space dock, waiting for the ship to depart. The ship, as I say, it's a straightforward, no frills. Hang on. A straightforward, no frills, A2 far trader. It's definitely seen better days. The paint job is chipped and worn, showing the bare metal underneath it here and there. Definitely seems to want to have a sort of an overhaul. You're greeted by the captain, who has her first officer show you to the so the passenger area. That's this kind of area here. If you look at the deck plan, I just shared the deck plan, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, too.
Yeah. So you're taken through to deck 2, where you're given a berth each. it's a no frills berth. Kind of consider it to be sort of economy travel. The cabin is tired. The furniture is a little bit worn, worse for wear. You're essentially kind of told by the XO that you will be spending the majority of your time here, but you have a full run of this deck. There are a couple of other people who are also staying here, but they kind of go to their sort of quarters and kind of just close the door behind them. You do kind of have a mess area, a rec area with a bunch of games and videos and other things that you can do. But essentially, it's kind of made clear that the ship's more sensitive parts, the bridge, engineering, etc., are to be considered off limits to yourself. Your equipment is stowed. It'll be stowed in the cargo bay unless you say otherwise.
No, the cases stay in our rooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You split the cases between the three of you then, and get them into your rooms. With that, the ship sets off. You feel the sort of the vibration of the ship as it kind of rises up from the comes out of the sort of the gravitational field of the high port and out into space, and then the ship kind of goes a little bit quiet with just the pulse of the engines that you can kind of feel underfoot, and then a message comes over, probably sort of 2 or 3 hours later. A message comes over basically saying prepare to jump. As you know, jumping is a fairly complex process. You would normally go through astrogation, you would go through the jump master preparing the jump, making the jump. The key thing though that you know is as the ship goes into jump and starts to go into kind of I want to call it warp speed, but I'm not sure if it's technically called warp speed in Traveller. Let me have a look. But as it sort of goes into it is faster than light. It's not called that either. What's it called? 1 second.
Hyperspace.
It might be warp actually because it folds a bubble around you. The description is quite cool actually. Creates a bubble of hyperspace by means of injecting high-energy exotic particles into an artificial singularity. The singularity is driven out of our universe, creating a tiny parallel universe that is then blown up like a balloon by injecting hydrogen into it. The jump bubble is folded around the ship, carrying it into the little pocket universe. So effectively, you go to hyperspace. You go to jump space, it's called. Typical jumps in terms of ship distance is based on the J drive. So if it's a J drive 2, then it can make a 2 parsec jump before requiring a stop and a refuel. Captain kind of comes over and sort of 2 or 3 hours later and just sort of prepare for jump. First stop 567-908 in approximately 1 week's time. The other thing that you know is that it doesn't matter how far the J drive can take you, each jump is effectively 146 hours long. It's very weird. Yeah, so it's 148 hours plus a D6, 6 dice worth of hours extra. So it could be anything up to sort of a full 7 days. Yeah, 154 hours in total in jump space. So during that time, ship goes into jump. During that time, you basically get to stare at the 4 walls of your cabin and the wreck area. The ship is, as I said, it's clean, but not really new or expensive. Food is edible, functional rather than luxurious. How you could describe the ship in general? Definitely not a space-going hotel.
Well, to be fair, I've travelled in worse.
Do you wish to do anything while you're travelling?
See if I can find out any information on where we're going.
Okay.
Walston, isn't it?
Yeah.
Walston in total? Walston. Okay.
Just any, life, any species of creatures on there, that sort of thing, and anything dangerous to watch out for.
So you can find the typical information about Walston. It is a average starport, fairly straightforward, not really that it's not a very well-known place. As you can see, it's very unimportant in the grand scheme of things when it comes to its importance in the universe. In terms of things that you could learn about Walston,
Population of 3,000 over the whole planet.
yeah, it's tiny.
Like low level 8, it says long bladed weapons controlled. Doesn't mention anything about guns and things then. So are they restricted altogether?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'll cover that in a second. So, in terms of fauna and flora, there are two documented species of seagoing animals that pose a threat to humans. The first is something that's referred to as an alderson, a creature that's about 1 metre long, covered in thick scales, plus a whip-like tail roughly the same length of its body. It has a pair of lobster-like claws, normally, but usually its kind of hunting methodology is to surge from cover, grab small prey, entangle them with its invertebrates. Can give humans a nasty bite and are quite tenacious and very difficult to kill with a knife. It's not hugely... it's not a huge problem. Just stay away from it. The second one is known as a deep-water bracar. It's a sinister-looking beast that looks like a fish with an armoured head behind which several manipulative tentacles extend. Moves at speed, they sweat back during an attack, they grab prey and haul it into the bracar's mouth. They tend to grow to be over 1.5 metres long and massing as much as an adult human. And some of them weighing as much of an adult human have been sighted in coastal waters. They are aggressive. They are known to decimate fish stocks, and they're quite willing to take on a diver. And when they do so, they usually win. They are, though, sort of as a footnote, it does state that they prefer deep and cold waters and are rarely seen near Settlement Island. The other thing that you learn is that the entire population is located on a singular island on the planet of Walston. It orbits an M2 primary called Albion Star. Contains two small gas giants named Insive and Greenish, 5 rocky bodies in standard orbits. No planetoid belts, but the system does have comets and planetoid collections at the Trojan points of the gas giants. Woolston itself lies on the outer fringe of the habitable zone, occupying the innermost orbit of Albin's star. It's a rather dry and very thin atmospheric planet. Recommendation is to wear filter masks to breathe safely. The atmosphere is tainted. Half the planet is underwater, not all of which is in liquid form. Nightly freezing of freshwater bodies and surface of some seas is a fact of life. Rainfall tends to be minimal, has no satellites, and there are no ties to contend with. It has a number of impressive mountain ranges, a number of thermal sea vents, and as I said, the majority of population resides on something called Settlement Island off the west coast of the world's largest continent called Woolston, Maine. Settlement Island itself, according to the stats that you pull up on the library, have some 200 kilometres from north to south and 350 kilometres from east to west. Which is bigger than the UK, right? Oh, no, probably about the same size as the UK. The sea between it and Woolston, Maine is shallow and dotted with small islands. The island itself is not particularly high above sea level, except in the southern extreme where a huge extinct volcano called Mount Salbari and its surrounding hills rise steeply from the coastal plain. What else might you learn? And that's about it. Not a particular pleasant and not a particular fun place to be, but it's take the right precautions with a breather and you'll be absolutely fine. Just don't go deep sea fishing or swimming.
Where did the ship crash?
That was going to be my question. Are we going to go underwater or get on land?
As far as you know, Anders basically suggested that the ship was downed, not crashed. And everything that he was talking about suggested that it was on the planetary spaceport.
All right, okay.
All right, okay.
About 6.5 days later, you feel the ship come out of warp, and sort of 2 or 3 hours later, you get a message that the ship has landed on the planet 567-908, also known as LV-402.
Got really memorable names, don't they?
You know, it's 567-908. One thing to know, about a day or so earlier, and this is pretty common, all of you having some kind of space background, you would know that as you kind of are coming through hyperspace or jump space, heading towards a destination, if there is a plan for the ship to actually physically land on the planet, the captain usually starts to set the atmospheric conditions of the ship to match that of the planet. And does that over sort of a 2 or 3 day period, so that by the time you land on 567-908, you are not surprised when when the ship is lands and you get the blast of the thin air and the dryness of the planet itself.
Hopefully that doesn't mean that they start tainting the air inside the ship.
I was going to say...
They don't taint it, they just set the atmospheric conditions, so gravity, general heat, or humidity or lack thereof, general temperature, general kind of the state of the air. So it's not a shock. Yeah.
That's really nice to acclimate to it. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah. As a ship comes to land, you feel that judder as a ship comes through the atmosphere and comes to a land, and you feel the kind of the big landing the landing supports of the ship kind of take the absorption of their big heavy ship as it kind of drops down onto the planet's surface. The captain kind of goes, "Welcome to 567908. Not the most interesting of places. We will be here for approximately 1 day. All crew and passengers may disembark if you wish."
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to stretch our legs, but are we all going to go at once, or is somebody going to stay home and watch these cases? Or am I being overly paranoid? Yeah.
Just lock the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure the cases will be safe because they're going to technically have been in a cargo hold anyway. So there'll be security on.
Okay.
Yeah, we should be all right that way. What do we know about this place?
What do you know about this place?
We don't want to break any laws just walking out the doors carrying something that we shouldn't do, for example.
Oh, Jesus.
Right, okay. We're in Mos Eisley.
Yeah, you're in Mos Eisley. Basically, when you again, so the one thing that you have access to is obviously a library within the rec area, which has pretty much the base information for every single planet in the Imperial space, and so you can pull up the information that the scouts and other cartographers have logged for 567908. It is very much for all intents and purposes, it is classed as an uninhabited planet.
But there's a spaceport here still. That's
There is a spaceport, yes.
Yeah.
You can.
It's a rock.
It is a 8,000 kilometer rock, so it's only a little bit smaller than the Earth.
And never have I ever seen a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
As you come out of the ship and you kind of blink a little bit from, the transition from artificial light to natural light, even, one as such a forlorn, dry, thin atmosphere planet as this is. The starport definitely sits in the middle of nowhere. And in fact, what we can do...
If you've got a map prepared, I'm going to bring a shotgun.
I thought I did. I thought I'd actually done the map. Maybe I don't. Maybe I didn't. Oh, okay. Well, that was stupid of me, wasn't it? Huh. I thought I'd done the map, but clearly I haven't. I mean, there's nothing. When you come down out of the ship and you kind of take a glance around, the first thing that you're hit with is the drab, dreary, depressing brown greyness that stretches out as far as you can see. Here and there, little bumps in the ground. What you do know is to the north, you can see that the ground does rise to the north, out as far as you can see. And to the south, you can sort of just about make out that the ground kind of disappears sort of a long way to the south, kind of downwards. There is a set of pipes that seem to run in a general direction to the southwest. and they clearly deposit liquid in a number of tanks that you have in the vicinity of where you are. Yeah, it's a huge tank, probably 20 or so meters wide by probably 50, 60 meters tall. And there are several pipes that run. One runs to the landing area, which, as you can see, has already been hooked up to the ship. Clearly a fueling system, most likely, given it also runs to a bunch of buildings sort of behind you, most likely a water holding tank. So again, what you'll know is that one way you can get fuel is to take on board water, and then if you have a fuel processing system, you can crack out the hydrogen from the water, recycle the oxygen either into your ship's life support system or dump it out of the ship into the local atmosphere if you choose to. And so that process has started. You're not quite sure how much fuel the ship can take, but you suspect that it would only take a day for it to fully refuel and be ready, given that's how long the captain has said you'll be here for.
Right. In my mind, I'm imagining sort of like a petrol station on one road in the middle of Texas, and it's just desert all around.
Yeah, not too far away, except that you've got a motel.
I was going to ask, is there anything there to eat or to?
Yeah. So to the north-south, east of the landing area, there appears to be a bunch of just kind of prefabricated living cubes, and something that the captain points out is the wreck and canteen at the end. To the north of the landing area is a large warehouse, a garage of some kind, and then a couple of buildings with various antennae and other things kind of poking out of the top of them.
That'll be communications, no doubt.
Yeah, to your eyes, that's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
Did I actually pull the map for this? The one thing I didn't do, I don't know why I didn't do this map. I'll do it quickly while we're talking.
Well,
anything you want to do? There are people milling around. There's probably 6 or 7 people that you can see. A few people kind of busying around the ship. Other people kind of milling around and just kind of staring at the ship and stuff like that.
Should we go for something to eat and see if it's real food rather than what we've had on the ship?
Might as well change the scenery at least.
Exactly.
As you kind of head out towards the canteen, looking to the north of you, sort of out beyond the little settlement to the small ridge that you can see in the distance, there does appear to be some kind of definitely man-made structure on that ridge. But you head to the canteen. Canteen is a small affair, maybe no more than about 50 meters by sort of 10, 15 meters wide. There are probably a half dozen or so tables in here. There's an area at the back that says gym and recreation, and there's 2 or 3 people sat at a table kind of eating, and they kind of nod at you, and then kind of following you in, a couple of the ship's crew that you'd seen kind of come in and go over and start getting themselves some food.
Were there any other ships there when we landed?
No.
Okay. So
None whatsoever.
So anyone else here basically lives here or
Correct.
works here?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Just because you've piqued my interest, is there a window to the man-made objects on the ridge?
You can. There's a couple of windows. One will be to the north. Yes.
Yeah, I'll dig out my binoculars and just have a quick
Okay.
look-see.
Do your binoculars have range finding capabilities? Would we think?
Let me find out.
I don't know. It states things like that, does it? But
Yeah, I don't think so. Use optical lenses.
Oh,
to
ignore
magnify-
that. It's light intensifying goggles I've got.
okay.
I thought I put binoculars on mine. I did do.
I have.
Tech level 8.
Yeah, I've got binoculars, so I'll use mine then. But it just says use rhythm effectively increasing the visual range of the user by up to 10 times magnification. The effective field of view is reduced, however, as the magnification increases. Yeah, it doesn't say anything else really.
Okay. All right. So it doesn't have range finding on them then, but you can see it clearly. So when you kind of look through, you can see.
And electronic binoculars have range finding on it.
Okay. So it's measured out to about 3.5 kilometers away. The building itself appears to be, now you're looking at it through the binoculars, it does seem to be tracked, and it has several more antennae sticking out the top of it.
Okay, so
I'm not going to worry about there you go. So you're in this building here, which would work if I could ping. So you're in here at the moment. The observatory, as he says, is about 3.5 kilometers to the north off the map. This is essentially the water collection system. This is the warehouse. This appears to be some kind of garage. These are your comm systems. And as you've kind of walked from here to here, you've gone past these sort of half a dozen, 8 or so prefabricated communication buildings. Here and there, you can also see the odd sort of rigid structure tents have been deployed as well.
okay, group of 5 looks remarkably like a Y-wing to me.
No.
And yeah, you'll be able to sweep your binoculars over this thing here, and what it appears to be is the wreck of some kind of ATV that's been somewhat modified, and kind of stands prominently and proudly on the edge of the settlement.
But it's a wreck. So
It is a wreck, yes.
Okay.
ATV rather than ship of any kind.
yeah. Well, I suppose get something to eat and then maybe go for a walk and take a look at it.
Yeah, I agree. We've got a day, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yep. The staff in the canteen kind of come and go over the next hour or so. One thing that they do have is good coffee.
Excellent.
Brain
Definitely
food.
better than the coffee you'd been drinking on board the Autumn Gold. And they're very, very happy to share it with you. You spend an hour or so kind of learning a little bit about the local area. they mention it as something called Mandel's Prang. And when you kind of dig into it, it turns out that Mandel was the driver. He decided he would see how fast the ATV could go over very rugged landscape and discovered that the answer was not very. And basically, he completely rearranged the ATV by pushing it beyond its working tolerances on the ground and basically rendering it inoperable and difficult to move. So they turned it into a monument to Mandel. From an observation perspective, the observatory, the ground crew at the port, if you can call it a port, don't really know too much about what they're doing other than science stuff.
Is it authorised or
I was going to say, is it military or anything like that, or just
random people who are doing science
Scientists.
stuff?
It is authorized, and it is paid for by the Scouts.
Oh,
okay?
I had a vision of some ex-teachers just cooking up meth.
No, not quite. But as you have a fairly decent amount of food, coffee, you feel pretty full, and you can go for a walk if you wish.
Yeah, just grab some water as well.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
That is a very good idea. You take on board some water. Where are you going to go? The lake, you learn, is about 1 kilometre to the southwest. The observatory is about 3 kilometres to the north. It is early afternoon right now. You could definitely make it to the observatory if you wanted to, and back again, no problem.
Yeah, let's do that.
There's no local wildlife on this place or anything, is there?
Nothing worth talking about. No, there's been nothing in the library suggested that there was anything on this planet other than this starport. Call it that if you like, landing area.
Okay.
Okay. You take a walk out. So if you head along the tract, I won't call it a road because obviously it's not a road, but the clear path that the observatory has taken. And so you kind of follow that out for a couple of kilometres, 3 kilometres, enjoying your walk even in the thin atmosphere. Presume all 3 of you have rebreathers?
Yep.
Or, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you will have. Okay.
Yeah, breather mask's got the rebreather in it, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay. The observatory comes into view. Sits atop a ridge, probably the highest, and as you kind of climb up the ridge, you probably climb up about 20-30 meters, so maybe 100 feet above, and you kind of look southwards and you can see in the distance, sort of looking down in the distance, the starport. You can see the weak sun glistening off the carapace of the autumn gold, and then a little bit further south from that, sort of south west of that, you can make out probably the sun glistening off water.
I was going to see if you could see the sea.
It's not the sea; it's a lake.
Sorry, the lake.
Yeah. As you kind of get up onto the thing, you notice a guy kind of comes out of this building. Again, it's not a big thing, probably 30 meters by maybe 15 meters, this big kind of rectangular blob, maybe 2 stories high at its highest point, a couple of antennae. But as you've got closer, you can see that there's also seems to be some kind of, at the very top, an opening that kind of represents some kind of observatory, telescopic observatory. And a woman, you watch as a woman kind of comes out and she kind of heads over in your direction.
Give her a friendly wave.
And she kind of waves to you, and she kind of points at the observatory and gives you a thumbs up.
Yeah, nod and head over to her.
Okay. She'll be wearing a pistol, probably just a bog standard auto pistol, but fairly nondescript clothing. Probably some kind of coverall. And you kind of follow her back, and as you kind of go inside the observatory, you get into sort of the airlock area, climb up a small ladder, get in. Door seals behind. There's that rush of air as the pressure kind of comes back from inside, and she kind of takes her mask off and she smiles at you.
Yeah, take my mask off too. It's just, I'd be like, oh, God, it's nice to be out of this thing.
What brings you here?
To be fair, we're just travelling to Walston, and we've been on that ship for 2 days, well, a few days now, and it's just now stretch our legs. And rather than looking at that starport, this looks a bit more interesting.
Oh, well, welcome to the observatory. Come on up. Meet the crew.
Thank you. I'll shake your hand.
And she kind of takes you up into sort of the central area. Up at the front, there'll be a small cab for the driver, and then sort of just behind it is kind of the heartbeat, the heart of the observatory, probably mid between sort of the 2 floors. A series of computer banks and panels, several chairs, sort of a table in the middle that shows an immediate sort of geographic layout of the immediate area, possibly out to maybe sort of 20 kilometers. And you're pretty much seeing exactly the same kind of grey, brown, shitty, somewhat rugged here and there landscape. Nothing exciting whatsoever.
So either you're observing something really interesting, or you've got amazing willpower to not have killed yourself by now.
Oh, well, the work that we're doing here is absolutely fantastic. Look, come over to this console. I'll show you all about it. Actually, Simons, bring up the local orbital map, please. And then immediately she kind of flicks, and that central sort of table map of the local area kind of zooms out, and you kind of see a portion of the sky, probably the area of sort of around where the observatory is, maybe out to, I don't know, several 100,000 kilometers up and out into space. If you notice here, play back the recording, Simons, from 5 hours ago. Yeah, I'm on. And he kind of taps something, and you notice that there is a ripple that appears right on the edge of this map that seems to just ripple out. And she says, there you go. That, my friend, is you. As you arrived out of hyperspace, out of jump space. What happens is we've noticed that whenever a ship emerges from jump, its mass causes these gravitic ripples in space, and that's what we're seeing here. And they interact with other matter in a very scientific and rather interesting and, I have to say, somewhat baffling manner. And so what we're doing here is we're trying to plot the occurrence, see if there's any forewarning of ships about to emerge, see how long these last for, see whether the ripples allow us to determine the size of the ship that's coming out of jump space, just to see if there's any kind of scientific use that we can put this knowledge
Well,
to.
I can imagine it more important to the military, that, because of a very good early warning system.
Well, yes, but so far we've not been able to determine whether these gravitic waves are precursors, postcursors, only appear at the exact moment the ships arrive. I mean, that's great. That would give us 2 to 3 hours if it was going to be an orbital bombardment, but maybe not enough to evacuate major cities. And beyond that, we're doing other things like testing multi-wavelength, using the telescope for multi-wavelength discoveries within the system, and measuring things like cosmic radiation, turbulence, solar flares, everything. And for the next sort of half an hour, she just gives you an absolute bombard of scientific information.
I'll nod a little smile on my face, because this is my kind of thing, really, as well. I do.
Okay.
Although I'm a medic, I do like this sort of thing.
Okay. And you find tin mugs of coffee thrust in your hands.
Hopefully good quality.
Slightly stronger than what you had back at the mess, but definitely good coffee.
Awesome.
Are they all armed like she was?
No, none of them. You'll notice as well, when she goes into the airlock, she opens a locker and she stows the pistol in. So actually they're not carrying weapons inside. If you've got weapons with you, as long as they're not rifles or shotguns, she won't insist that you leave your weapons. If you're carrying long arms, she will.
Yeah,
That
I
was
wouldn't
fair.
have taken that out. That would have been left behind. It's like, there's nothing here, so I wasn't going to carry around
Yeah.
a rifle.
Yeah. And after sort of a couple 3 hours, she kind of nods. Well, gentlemen, probably time, actually. Simons, let's take the observatory back, shall we? Yes, ma'am. And so for the next hour or two, you're treated to a very slow journey. Certainly you could have made it on foot back quicker, but you are treated to a trip back in the observatory.
I thought it was knackered. I didn't realise it actually moved as well. This is brilliant.
No, the observatory is fully working.
Oh, fantastic.
I didn't realise it's actually moved locations. I thought it was a building.
Has wheels, it's tracked. It's a pleasant enough afternoon. The observatory staff are pleasant enough. Do any of you have military tactics?
I do.
Feel free to give me a roll.
Do you want a blind one?
No, just send it.
Both are all the same.
Nice. Average successes. You don't get the sense that any of the staff here are military. There's probably there's probably 4 people in the observatory total. There's probably at least one that's clearly had military background and a career military at some point, but you don't get the sense that what they're doing is in any way, shape or form directly being sponsored by the Imperial Navy. It just seems generic, genuine sort of scout and university-sponsored research. But you are right. If they were to get a breakthrough, this could definitely be used in a military context.
Oh.
Sun sets as you arrive back at the landing port. Anything you wish to do before night time?
Well, I'm thinking about sleeping on the ship anyway, because I don't see why we should pay for somewhere to stay.
Okay.
And I'd rather be on the ship in case it goes.
I wasn't even thinking that there was anywhere to sleep, but I just assumed we were on the ship.
Yeah, no, there's like a motel, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a few habitation pods. You could theoretically bunk up in a habitation pod together if you wanted to, but you kind of have your own cabins, even though they're economy class cabins. You do have cabins on board the ship, and there's nothing stopping you from using them.
Yeah.
Yep. So say our farewells to the scouts. Thank them for a lovely tour of what they're doing.
I mean, you return back to your ship. You bunk down for the night. The night passes uneventful, and by sort of by sort of 8-9 o'clock in the morning, the ship, you can feel the vibrations and humming of the ship as it starts to prepare to leave. You'd have noticed several crates being offloaded from the ship. General conversation with port staff. It's literally just... Well, actually, I can tell you kind of what it is. I think it says in here. It's just general cargo. Instrumentation, spare parts, some foodstuffs, but again, nothing that would cause any alarms if you really poke around. And people are fairly open. There's none of this mind your own business, keep your nose out of it kind of thing. It's just you watch the crates come off board, and you can hear the port officials just ticking them off and nodding and sending them off to the warehouse. One of the ATVs, for example, just comes, loads it, and sort of takes it up into the warehouse for storage.
Yeah, just check to make sure our cases are still there.
Your rooms have not been disturbed. They have not been touched. They haven't been cleaned.
Awesome.
There is no maid service on board the ship.
That's fine.
That might be an interesting business to go into.
And with that... Oh, somebody moved the ship. Haha, happy
Sorry,
days.
I did, yeah.
No, by all means move the ship, because I forget. Okay. Once again, probably by mid-afternoon, you hear the klaxon and the captain basically saying prepare for jump. And the ship slides into jump space once again. Anything you want to do during this stint in jump space?
No, just make sure. Well, I'm not sure about everybody else, but I just want to make sure my equipment's ready and prepared.
I'll be reading over the specs of the ship and things just so I know what I'm actually doing, or getting prepared basically for whatever we need to do. And the local laws in the area. For
Okay.
example, we're not allowed to carry weapons or firearms, what we can actually walk around with, and any information as to how dangerous the place is from normal people,
First thing,
not wildlife.
yeah, so the library, as you carry on kind of studying the ship's library software on Woolston, you do come across the section that talks about local laws. The typical tech level of the planet is 8. It's a fairly sustainable tech level 8 as well. And the but the local laws basically state that there is a prohibition of owning most weaponry. Guns or blades longer than a dagger must be placed in storage at the port or left on board your ship. The wearing of armour is not permitted and will incur...
Well, my view on that, if the ship's in the spaceport, we'll be literally just putting our stuff in our luggage and carrying it across to the ship.
Vac suits don't count as armour, though you don't need a vac suit.
No.
But wearing it would be easier than carrying it, I would assume.
Yeah. Let's go to here.
So basically, if we're walking over to the ship, we're going to be carrying our weapons, I assume, in the luggage is all right from A to B, type of thing.
Yeah, I think somebody should go to the starport and explain what we're doing. We're not just going to jump on the ship and fly it off. We're not paying any fees.
The ship glides through the atmosphere down to the planet's surface of Woolston. Little or no turbulence can be felt as you kind of plunge through the atmosphere towards Settlement Island. And gradually, you feel that vibration and that kind of shudder as the ship drops down onto the starport. As you head out, carrying your various items, the first thing you notice is the lack of any other ship on the starport.
I knew you were going to say that. Our ship is missing. Do these ships have things like transponders and things where you can...
All ships have transponders, and every single ship captain is expected to log their next onward journey at the starport that they've stopped at.
So is it possible to track the transponders in some way?
You won't have the equipment to do so, no. So they don't really have... I don't know. Do they have transponders? I mean, that's a good question. I don't know that they do. Other than...
Like the starports might actually be able to track them, type of thing.
I suppose they log them when they're coming in and out, don't they?
Yeah, I would say probably in the same way that we today can sort of track commercial transponders of aircraft and ships, but not easily track military transponders, because I think they operate on a different frequency, don't they? It's probably very similar. So if you had the necessary equipment, you can probably pick up a transponder locally. It would depend on what the communications array would be for the planet as well, which is worth noting. So I don't know, does it say?
I assume we'd have the details for the ship's transponder if we were supposed to be repairing it and things, and schematics and things.
Yeah, you probably would, yes.
Okay.
I think I'm going to follow our captain across to the. Cause she's going to go to the starport, isn't she?
Well, the captain actually states that their plan is to take on board fuel quickly and leave.
Oh.
They're not expecting, so she isn't actually going to leave. The only she's just going to oversee the delivery of a bunch of crates, get the ship refueled, and get it underway with as little downtime as possible.
Does she know why we're here? What our job is, or is she just?
No, she's just doing a favour, isn't she?
She's just dropping you off here. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to hoof it across to the main starport control place.
All right. First thing you have to do though is go through customs.
Well, I've left all my things behind with whoever's looking after our gear.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll stay by the ship. Keeping an eye on all the gear.
Okay.
Before we actually come out.
All right. And what is what's Carver doing?
You'll stay with the gear as well.
Stay with the gear. Okay. All right. Brent, you head across to customs.
Yeah, I'll go through customs.
Whilst Carver and Marcus watch their cargo being unloaded and stacked neatly to one side in the starport landing pad.
Yeah. Hello there. Can I speak to somebody who's in charge of the starport, please? We've been sent here by the scouts to pick up a ship, but there seems to be no ship here.
Oh. Well, I am I'm Officer Carmichael.
Hello,
Perhaps
Officer
I can be
Carmichael.
of assistance to you, sir.
Certainly. I'm Brent V. Stilmer.
Mr. Stilmer or V. Stilmer?
Just Stilmer.
And how can I help you, Brent? Sorry, Mr. Stilmer, what can I do for you today?
Well, we were sent by the scouts to pick up a ship that a few other scouts had damaged here, and we were going to repair it and take it back. But as you can see, as well as I can see, there is no ship here.
Yes. I presume you're referring to the High and Dry?
Indeed, the High and Dry.
Yes. I can't really help you with where the ship went. I can tell you that the crew was a definite ragtag, angry, rude bunch of space goers.
So it's been stolen.
Sir, don't know, sir. I know that they left recently. Sorry, not recently. It was quite a while ago now. You've been at least 2 weeks in space, so yeah, you've been 2 weeks in space. Give me a sec. I'm just trying to track the days. Yeah. Well, they took the ship. They came back on an air aft and then took passage out of the system, I believe. Though I don't have much more of the detail than that. If you need to know more, you may need to get yourself to the government offices in the main capital.
Right. Okay. So they took the. Let me get right in my head. Sorry. They took the ship from the starport, and then they came back to the starport in rafts rather than with the ship, and then they took another ship and left.
Yes.
So the
Yes.
ship is still somewhere on this planet.
He looks at you and shrugs. Perhaps where, I don't know. Not really my job to know where the ship is, to be honest. Like I said, maybe one of the government officials may know more information about where the ship is. All I know is that the crew were real jerks, loudmouthed, defensive, grumbled about everything and anything they could possibly grumble about. By the way, the customs officer is wearing a kilt.
Oh, lovely.
And you notice that there are probably, of the people that you can see, there's probably a good 50% wearing kilts.
What was his name again? Was it Metcalf, did you say? Sorry.
His name is Carmichael.
Carmichael.
You say kilt.
Kilt.
I just say skirts with a dodgy pattern on.
Yeah. Skirts with a dodgy pattern on. Yeah, absolutely. You may want to make application to the Port Authority office. They are responsible for the records of passing ships. It will be most likely them who can tell you exactly where your ship is. You can find the office about 5 minutes that way, he says.
Wonderful, thank you. And thank you for your help.
Okay. Before you go, though, sir, are you passing through into the town, into the city?
Well, we weren't expecting to, but apparently we are now.
If you don't mind, and he points to a data slate, please fill in the forms.
Okie dokie, yep.
Usual kind of thing, right?
Yep.
Why are you here? Who are you? Where are you staying? How long are you staying for? What business do you have on planet? You know, the usual kind of stuff.
It's answer half of it because you don't know yet.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Obviously, Carmichael, I need to go back to my friends and explain the situation to them as well because they'll be coming with me.
Very well.
So I'll jog on back to Marcus and Carver.
One thing you'll have noticed is you kind of on the starport side of the customs area, there is a big bank of electronically stealable lockers.
Oh, fantastic. So I think we're going to be chasing our ship. Apparently some ruffians, some loudmouth ruffians have taken our ship, taken it somewhere on planet by the looks of it, and then come back in rafts, which I'm going to assume are like hovercrafts, and then taking a ship elsewhere, taking a different ship elsewhere. So we need to go to the Port Authority office and the government offices to find out if they know anything about it. And then we'll need to track down the goddamn ship.
Yeah.
So these aren't the guys that had it originally that managed to damage it. These are another group that's actually come and taken the ship.
Well, I'm assuming the guys that originally damaged it are still being bollocks by the scouts, aren't they? Didn't he say that? Yeah, they got hold of them.
Yeah, but that's one timeline wise. They found out about the ship being downed well before they came to collect these up. There's a They found the ship fairly recently, didn't they? That's it.
Yes. So you've been in space now for about 13 days since you left Flamion. And it was 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a little bit longer than that, for news to travel to Flamion for the scouts to realise that there was a problem. I believe you were told that the crew was arrested, weren't you?
That's right, yeah. Apprehended.
Yeah.
But the ship left in between that time period, or
You don't know that.
that,
All you know is that the loudmouth crew, which were jerks, took the ship somewhere and then returned to the Star Town in an air raft.
okay, so it could be the same crew that have now been arrested. We need to get a timeline as to when it was taken.
Yeah, and that's what an air raft looks like.
But if that's the case, then they would have to have got here. It would take them 2 weeks to get here anyway.
Correct.
But by the by, we need to speak to the port authority and then the government officers to find out if A, if anything was logged, and B, if they can track it on the planet. Because I'm sure the port authorities had some way to find out where the ship went to while it was still on the planet side.
I would hope so.
At
But
least
we're
a
gonna have to-
direction.
But we're going to have to lock our weapons away. They won't let us
Yep.
do with those.
And then maybe hire one of these things.
Can anyone fly?
Yeah, I can certainly try.
It's a grav vehicle. An air raft is a grav vehicle, not a. You need flyer grav to be able to technically pilot it well.
I have flyer.
Flyer what though?
I didn't know there's an option. There's no drop down menu.
Yeah, there is. There's flying the airship, grav, ornithopter, rotor, and wing.
Oh, it won't drop down for me now.
Because you got trained only, so take your trained only off, and now you can see them all.
Ah. Well, I best go for ornithopter then. No.
If you, well, hang on. Do you have flyer, or did you actually have flyer 1?
No, it's flyer.
Then
But
you
it's
haven't.
0.
Yeah, you haven't specialised. So it doesn't mean you can't.
Yeah.
You couldn't travel in a grav car. You're just not good at it.
Yeah, you don't get the -3 penalty basically that I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd crash it. You've got a chance of flying it.
Really?
Re-entering the customs part of the spaceport of Spacetown, it is a 10 credit fee per week for items placed in storage.
How big is the storage area?
It is big enough that you could put long arms and armor inside the storage area.
How about 4
I would
cases?
say it's probably the size of a walk-in wardrobe.
Okay. I was thinking, do we leave the tools and diagnostic tools here as well while we're searching it, while we're in town? Because we're going to be coming back out here, I assume, before we go chasing the ship. Otherwise, we're going unarmed.
Well, I'm assuming cloth armor's okay.
Cloth armor is okay, yes.
Okay.
I think. Let me double check.
I think you can't tell it's armor.
It's like a
If
t-shirt.
you can't
isn't it?
tell it's armor, it's okay unless somebody takes a really close look at you, I guess.
In which case they're too close anyway and they get stabbed.
Yeah, in which case they're too close, yeah.
With your katana.
No, that's a long blade. You can't have that either.
All visible armour is not allowed.
His katana's hidden behind his cloth armour.
Do I think an expandable shield would get past them? Because it's just a disc on my arm.
It's a disc on your arm.
And I could put it under the sleeve of the trench.
Does it have the concealable option?
I do not know.
What's it called?
Expandable shield.
Expandable shield. That sounds like a really sexy piece of equipment.
It ain't fucking cheap.
No, I bet it's not. I presume it's under equipment in the
in shields, just after the weapons. No, just after the armor, I think, before weapons, something like that.
just after armor. Before weapons, armor augmentation. Stealth armor. I don't think you get away with stealth armor. Old shield, found shield. What's it called? A
Expandable.
expandable shield. Oh no, still in armor. Is it in? It must be in. Oh, shields. There you go. Expandable shield. Doesn't have. Oh, it's 2,500. That is really
Yes.
cheap. Yeah, really expensive. Sorry. You would say no. You won't be able to get away with it because it doesn't have the concealable option.
Right.
It means the soldiers, the customs people, will most likely know what it is.
Oh, okay.
What you should do, you should write on it, put a 12 at the top, a 6 at the bottom, and just put it into a clock. Into a watch. Really big bling watch.
Or carry it as a dartboard. I thought that's where you were going with that, then, Medi.
Actually, it says it says it can command to become any size from a buckler. So the smallest it gets is a buckler. Right, it's fine.
Yeah, cool, nice. That's a pretty nice piece of kit.
That is a nice piece of kit.
I will create one of those. You should also all be able to add items to your character sheet by going to your equipment and hitting add item. And it should let you add the item. It just means then I don't get it into the thing, but that's not a problem. Okay. Everybody pay your 10 credits then for your personal lockers.
So basically, we can take small arms, and I can take
You can't take small
my
arms.
trench. I thought you could take small pistols.
All bladed weapons, and so everything is banned except small knives and daggers, unfortunately.
I thought you said any weapons the size of a dagger. Right, okay, fair enough.
Any weapon that the size of a dagger is allowed. Anything above the dagger is not allowed. And any... so if you look at how it would work... All bladed weapons, stunners, shotguns, firearms, etc. are not permitted.
What the
We're
shit
going
all this
naked.
place is.
Yeah, we're going naked.
I'll take my
Yeah.
stealth. I'll take my stealth dagger with me then.
I basically got the knife out of my survival kit. That's about all I've got.
I'm going to have to buy a knife.
See, I've only got a hatchet, which is quite big by all accounts.
You pay your 10 credits, stow away the gear that you don't want, or can't take with you, complaining as you do so about what a shithole this is. Go through customs, filling out the declaration forms in triplicate, buried in peat, dug up, recycled. And then head your way to Port Authority. It's a building just around the corner from the customs area. The clerk at the desk is a unassuming sort of middle-aged woman, red hair, blue eyes, nothing special beyond that. Also wearing a skirt with a stupid pattern on it. She kind of nods at you. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How may the Port Authority help you?
You've gone quiet, Eddie.
I'm not pushing a button. That's probably why. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, we've been sent by the scouts here to recover a ship that was left by some of their employees. But I've just been informed that that ship has been taken by some people, not off-world, but on-world, and moved. I'd just like to try and hopefully find out who took it, when it was taken, and where it went to. If you can provide that information, that'd be fantastic.
Well, we can certainly investigate that for you. Do you have proof of ownership, sir?
Yes, we do.
May I see your documentation?
Indeed. Now, I'll pass over the documentation we got.
Okay. And she takes the document and she kind of looks at it and she nods. Very well, sir. Bear with me one moment. And she kind of taps away on a computer screen and then you see her smile. Ah, yes. Well, the ship has been in and out of port about half a dozen times over the last year. The last time, according to our records, put it as leaving the port about three or so months ago. Yes, I can see noted here that there are a number of outstanding fines against the crew. It seems that they were somehow responsible for destroying several hotel rooms, leaving several unpaid restaurant bills, and upsetting a number of the locals with their offensive language and behaviour. Are you able to settle those fees?
Not without a ship, I'm not.
And they're not our fees.
And they're not our fees, no. Were these people you're talking about employed by the scouts, or?
They are listed as the crew of the High and Dry, yes.
And how much are the fines?
According to our records, 3 hotel rooms were destroyed and several meals went unpaid for. The total cost is 4,375 credits.
Well, I've got a man you can get in contact with about that. I'll give you his name.
Oh, that would be excellent. Yes, if you don't mind.
Do you have the names of the people who did this? Of the crew?
Do I have the names of the people who did this? Do I have the name of the people who did this? The names of the crew are undefined. She'll give you 3 names. 2 male and a female.
Does she have copies of their ID to match those names?
She does have copy of ID to match those names, yes.
Did we get the names?
If she doesn't, then I'd say, yeah, I'm Bob, and I promise I'll pay you later.
Yes.
She seems gullible as fuck, but
the names are Zenfor, Callie, so Callie's the female, Terence.
Do they match the names that we were given by?
Yes, they do. Yes.
Lovely. Yeah. Little shits. Sorry.
I also have some additional notes here. It was noted by the Starport crew that the Scout was in a rather dilapidated condition when it came through the last time. Though it did pass several casual inspections. The last time it was here, it remained in port for a couple of days and then departed. According to logs that were filed, it was recorded as destination being in system. There's no other particular reference to location. But that is interesting. The ship was chartered to the world government of Woolston on that particular occasion.
Interesting. And where did it go? Just into system.
It is clearly just listed as in system, yes, sir.
And I don't suppose you know where it is now.
I do not, I'm afraid, sir. It is listed as in system, and we have no record of it being returned or returning here.
Do you have a contact number for who hired it for the government or Walston?
There is no detail specifically, sir, on the actual designated individual in the government who has hired the ship. That information wouldn't necessarily be registered in a ship's departure documentation. If you need to know that, I suggest that you pay a visit to the capital and to the government sector, and I'm sure somebody there would be able to answer the question. But that is interesting. I do have reference of an aircraft arriving about 2 weeks after the High and Dry departed. It would appear that it was the crew members, Zen4, Callie, Terence, of the High and Dry who returned. It seems that they took charter on board a ship bound for Caladbolg. Caladbolg.
So if they had fines and things, you'd just let them off planet without paying the fines.
We were not aware of the fines until they had left. Otherwise, no, we would have insisted that they pay before they departed.
Well, thank you very much for your help. You've painted a very interesting picture.
Would you know whether there's any way to track the ship's transponder? Where we'd have to go to be able to find that, to find out where the ship is now.
So Caladbolg is right at the top, isn't it, next to Gun?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. She tells you that they were heading there via Detrillion on board a ship known as the Maverick Spacer, another far trader. They took the aircraft with them, but left behind a few thoroughly trashed hotel rooms, which happened on the day before they left. The night before they left. They are on the planetary banned list.
sounds to me, and this is me speaking speculatively, they've done something here, had a huge deal, maybe, and have buggered off. But I do think our next port of call should be the government offices. Is there somewhere to hire a hover spacer thingy? In a more technical word.
Are you asking her?
Yes,
Not past that thing.
a raft.
Yes, you'll be able to hire a raft at the airport, sir. At the spaceport, sir. Just go to just follow the rentals. However, I would recommend for first timers, it may be more appropriate for you to catch the train.
I was going to say that. Is there a train? Be better.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, definitely there is a train. Now,
I was thinking maybe be able to store small things, small arms and things. That's what I was hoping for.
So it kind of, if you think about this, so this is kind of the spaceport that you've come into here. This is customs, port authority is here. Commercial road, she will tell you that just come out of port authority and head straight down. You'll find the rail station, and you can take the rail station straight on to the capital.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Because I'm looking at this, there'd be no way to, because the hiring of the vehicle would be outside the customs area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless we run over to the fence and chuck stuff over.
Right.
Nothing to see here.
Essentially, unless you have a concealable weapon and concealable armor, it's very difficult for you to get items through customs here. What armor are you wearing, Carver?
Cloth trench.
Cloth.
The tech level 9, I think it is.
The cloth trench coat, tech level 10.
At 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it does say it's obviously armor.
I thought it said it wasn't.
It says it superficially resembles clothing, but is obviously armor and can make the traveller appear menacing or draw the attention of authorities.
Damn you! I was going to give you.
According to the central supply catalogue. Okay. The train, again, 20 credits to get you the hour or so's journey from Startown to the capital.
Was that 20, did you say?
Yeah. Does it have a different description in the core rulebook?
No. You know what I've done? I've read cloth. I've read cloth above it at tech level 10. And then just read down and thought the tech level 10 applied, that tech level 10 thing applies to all of it.
No.
Right.
If you want to switch to the cloth armor, that's fine. Give you a few credits back as well, but it might be less protection. It's not as menacing.
I was getting it not to be menacing, that's the thing.
But it does contain a shotgun and 2 auto pistols.
I'm sorry, a revolver and an auto shotgun.
I've just been looking through the skills for stealth and streetwise to see if there's any way I could smuggle weapons past, but I can't find anything.
I would have no idea.
It says stealth, sneaking past the guard or avoiding detection by security.
Yeah.
And streetwise, you've got finding a dealer in illegal materials, evading a police search. Doesn't mention anything about sleight of hand or misdirection or anything.
So the train is a small affair, definitely not anything like you were expecting. A small electric locomotive, a couple of passenger carriages, and then 2 or 3 sort of flatbed freight cars that are attached at the back that are currently empty. You imagine that as things need to be shipped from Spaceport or Spacetown to Central Lake, as it's called, or Central, they would just put them on the back of the train. Central is so called because it sits very much at the centre of the island and provides a location, sort of a branch out, if you think of, for all the different locations, or the 3 main sort of settlement areas that you can reach from Central. As you arrive, it's probably getting on now towards the late afternoon, but you kind of get a sense as you kind of talk to one of the station authorities that the government buildings can be found in something called the Palace. Taking a walk from the station down towards the Palace, you see that it is rather grandly named. Like the other buildings that you've seen so far on Wolston, it's pretty much underground, the top floor being above the surface. However, the entranceway in itself is also down a ramp, providing a little bit of shelter and a little bit of protection. It seems you've got sort of 4 parts to the building. There's a couple of wings that are accommodation wings and security force, and then in the middle you have the main government buildings. A very obvious entrance takes you down into sort of the reception area, if you like, and kind of decorated in a pastel blue, light to mid grey kind of colour scheme. There is a clerk behind a desk. However, just as you arrive, you watch as the clerk gets up from the desk and disappears into the building, into the office behind her.
Does it have a bell?
No, it doesn't.
Well, that was rude. She clearly saw us coming and did one.
Yeah. I feel the urge to go.
Yeah, any cameras looking down, wave at them.
Pulled up my pants to a big
We
steaming
know
shit
you're
on the
watching
desk.
us.
You kind of stand around waiting for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the woman that you saw that was behind the desk kind of looks up from where she was kind of hunched, kind of stood hunched over a desk. You can see her through the window. She kind of glances out the window, stops, looks, finishes something very quickly, kind of rushes to the door, and she actually kind of almost runs from the door to the front of the desk. Excuse me. I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting. How may I help you, gentlemen? Please, I apologise.
Don't worry about it. You clearly are very busy and have other things to do. But we were sent over here by the Port Authority. We're trying to track down a ship we were sent here to collect.
Off-world visitors, are you?
Sorry?
Off-world visitors.
We are indeed, yes.
One second, sir. And she picks up like a comm system, and she kind of goes, we have off-world visitors waiting in reception. Please, could we have somebody take them to one of our hospitality suites immediately, please? Thank you. and a small man kind of comes scurrying out and in one hand he's got like a tablet where he's obviously kind of doing something, and he kind of rushes out and excuse me, gentlemen, the off-worlders, yes, please follow me. Could I interest you in coffee, tea, or wine, gentlemen?
A coffee would be fine, thank you.
Coffee, okay. Yeah, he taps away on his thing. I'm afraid all I can offer you is a plate of biscuits at this time of the day, but hopefully that's not going to be a problem.
That'd be perfectly fine. Don't go overboard.
Quick question: are you expecting people?
Are we expecting? No, not expecting him. No.
Are you about to close soon?
The building never closes, sir.
Because that'd be my thing. Hey, here, we'll have a coffee. Oh, sorry, no, we're closed. Bye.
What is it you're looking for? The receptionist didn't really tell me too much, just that you were here from off-world.
Indeed, we were sent here to collect a ship that was supposed to be at the starport, but apparently this said ship was taken from the starport to another part of this world.
He immediately puts his hand to his ear.
Hired out by somebody in the government offices here.
As you kind of say that, he puts his hand to his ear. Paging Alan Greener. Reception room 3, please, at your immediate convenience. That's paging Alan Greener. Thank you. And you hear it kind of flutter over the tannoy system around you. It takes you into a fairly nice room, decorated in a beautiful blue pastel colour. A screen, obviously acting as a window at this point in time, kind of shows a beautiful sunset kind of setting over a beautiful landscape. And on one wall you can see that there is a coffee machine and a plate of biscuits, jammy dodgers to be precise. Jammy dodgers and fig biscuits.
Oh, fig biscuits! Oh my god!
These aren't real.
Do you know what? We're going to get a message from Medi now tomorrow going, I bought a packet of fig biscuits.
And I've been crapping for days. Yes.
Do you have a home bargains where you are? Because they sell them. I've had them not long ago.
Oh no, I can get them wherever I go. I know where my fig biscuit stores are.
How about there's also on the same plate a half dozen Garibaldis?
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
I like those pink thingies, the wafer biscuits.
The wafers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like, where did that packet go?
You can't really dunk them though, can you?
Well, you can.
You can, just quickly. You dunk them and they've got to...
Really dry your mouth out as well.
Oh, no, Tesco's do their own Garibaldi biscuits. I might have to get a pack of them tomorrow.
Oh.
Stop it. As he kind of pours out coffee and things and hands around the plate of fig biscuits, the door opens and a rather tallish gentleman kind of walks in. Nicely brown cropped hair, a very tight, slightly greying at the edges beard. And he kind of, gentlemen,
Alan Greener, I presume.
Indeed. Minister of Off-World Affairs, Public Relations and Fisheries. I understand you've come from Off-World. How may I help you?
Sorry, I was writing. That's a very strange title. Minister of Off-World Affairs and Fisheries.
Indeed. Yes, we're very much given the size of our population here, many of us are lucky enough to be able to hold several titles or several jobs.
Oh, well done. That's quite a split there, but well done. We were sent here by the Imperial Scouts to repair and take back one of their ships that was abandoned here by some previous employees of theirs. And I'll show him the writ of ownership.
It takes he takes the documentation from you and he kind of looks over it and he kind of nods as he reads it. Well, that all seems to be in order. Gentlemen, please, seat.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Greener. We know it's in order, and we've been given the runaround a few times now, and my patience is wearing quite thin here.
Yes.
Apparently, this vehicle has been hired by your government to go somewhere, but it never came back to the starport. Now, where is the ship? Please.
Well, Mr. V.
Stilmer.
Stilmer. Mr. V. Stilmer. Mr. Stilmer.
The biscuits just got pulled back across the desk. Then you do realise.
Slides them back across the desk. I'm definitely not going to give you the runaround. It's just that I do have a slightly delicate situation regarding the ship.
Pray
What's
tell.
happened to it?
Well, it's not so much as what's happened to it, but it's more a little bit about where it is, but also what we had chartered the ship to do for us. That is the delicate situation.
You mean illegal?
Oh, goodness, no. Everything that we do here is very much legal and above board. Certainly within the ministry, of course. I'm sure there are some unscrupulous people on the planet, but they don't really worry me. No, we'd hired the crew of the High and Dry to perform a planetary survey. Specifically to carry out a geological, seismic and tectonic survey of a region not too far from the capital.
Is said region underwater?
No, the region is not underwater. Now, I can absolutely share the location of the ship with you, but I would be very much hoping that you would be prepared for a small fee to finish the job that your predecessors chose to abandon.
Do you know why they abandoned it?
If I was to make any kind of guess, I would say they were not very good at their jobs and they took drinking, carousing and destroying public property and private property to be much more up their street.
We were literally sent here to pick up a ship, repair it, and take it back to the Imperial Scouts.
Mm.
And now you want us to do a survey for you here.
Well, I don't think you would be doing too much, going too far out of your way to conduct the survey once you had retrieved the ship.
What state is the ship in, do you know?
Unfortunately, I don't know. Although I can only assume, given the way that they returned, the former crew returned on the air raft, that maybe the ship is not in the best of state. I did have a note from the Startown that the ship itself looked a little bit out of... took a little bit out of sorts. Certainly did not look to be well maintained, I believe was the report that I'd received.
I see. Let me just put one thing past you as well. One of your government officials, was it you who authorised this survey to these people?
Indeed, yes. That was undertaken at my request, yes.
And clearly they took the money first.
They did, yes.
And left.
they would appear to have done so.
Yes, and you didn't bother to go along with them to supervise this endeavour?
Not normally how these contracts work, so no. Normally we pay in good faith and the goods and services are delivered.
I can understand that. Now, if we were to go to our ship, we would need you to authorise us to bring our equipment, no matter what that equipment is, through from the starport, because there's equipment we need to use to fix the ship that's there. Some of the equipment we have for our own safety is on your prohibition list.
I understand. I can do so. I can allow you to transport in sealed containers any weapons and armour that you may possess to only be worn and used outside of the city limit, all city limits.
We would never ever use it against anybody without prior warning.
Self-defense only.
Self-defense only, yes, exactly. We're not like the previous trio that were here. We're quite professional. We've been sent here to do a job. We intend to do that job. If we can help you out in the meantime, that's fair enough. But what were you offering in return for us to complete this survey?
We have to walk back the whole fee, small fee. Take the small off. Just say it's a fee, and we'll start there.
Indeed.
And I'd like you to walk back the survey again, and give me a description of that.
Yes. So I'm prepared to offer you a flat fee of 3,000 credits in cash.
Cash.
Cash. And what I would like you to do is
survey my ex-wife's partner's house.
No, not quite. You may. I don't know how much you're familiar with Woolston. There is a volcano that sits to the southeast on Settlement Island called Mount Silbari.
Silbari, yes, indeed.
We have thought it to be extinct for millennia, but recently it has started to rumble a bit. Occasional tremor, you know how it is. A year or so ago, a geologist was passing through, took a look and concluded that it was 99% or more certain that it was a mere twitch on the mountain, kind of venting its frustrations, if you were. There was no real cause for alarm. But I would just like a more detailed survey, and that is what I hired the previous crew to do. Provide a map of the interior of the mountain, and hold on a sec. Yeah, he wants the mountain to be surveyed, and both sort of internally, externally, and an analysis done on the likelihood of an eruption. And if it were to erupt, what damage it could cause.
Okay. Question of, I'm assuming you are monitoring it from here. Have you got a record of the tremors through the period where the ship had taken off to do the survey? What I'm trying to find out is, was there a larger tremor when the ship was on site that could have caused the damage?
He does have a record, yes, and he does say that since the ship departed, more recently there has been a slightly larger number of tremors.
Okay.
Out of character, it's like have they discovered destroy the world and gone, well, let's go for a party and bugger off.
I'm just thinking it's fucking Godzilla.
Yeah.
Does the ship have the instruments and the ability to perform this survey, or are we going? Because we haven't got. I assume we haven't got the skills to actually perform the survey
do.
normally.
Um,
Okay.
he
Oh,
tells
no.
you that the previous crew were given the seismic equipment and charges that they would need to perform a thorough survey.
Yeah,
Oh
but
no.
they basically
There goes
trashed
Walston
crews and
Starport.
ran
Go,
away.
go,
So what's to say
Godzilla.
that they're still there?
And he shrugs.
So if they're not there, we can't perform the actual survey.
Right, well, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. I do have equipment that I could possibly use.
So, gentlemen, do we have a deal?
If you can get us to our ship with all our equipment, then I think we have the makings of an amazing partnership.
Excellent. And he holds his hand out.
I'll shake his hand.
Okay.
So that was 3,000 each, yeah?
No, just total. Just total 3,000 credits.
If you think
Total.
we're getting paid 1,000 just to come here and do this in the first place,
Yeah. Carver's looking a little bit unhappy.
so
I'm going to be flying over a fucking volcano and scanning inside it.
we don't
That's
have to.
what we don't. We just
They're a
fix
bit
the ship.
shit.
Fix the ship and take
Fuck
off.
off, yeah. They're a bit shit stopping people, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Do you know what? I'll read you a statement. In here, just so you know.
All they're going to do is you're not allowed back here. Go, okay. Sorry.
He does say, yeah. So he needs you to perform to use the Scouts planetary survey equipment and a bunch of seismic charges, which he gave the crew to carry out a geological, seismic, and tectonic survey of the volcano. But the book actually does say there is absolutely nothing to stop you taking the 3,000, fixing your ship, and fucking off.
There you go.
Because that's the first thing you think of.
It physically says that at least 2 places in the book.
Yeah.
Do you know, yeah. And at the end of the day, if we do it, fair enough. But we'll see.
We'll see whether it's feasible.
If it gets a bit crap, yeah. If it gets, we say, oh no, they had nothing in. They took it all with them. Didn't you check them when they got to the starport?
So he looks at you and he says, "Okay, gentlemen, could I perhaps interest you in dinner this evening?"
Only if you have some more jammy dodgers.
My expense, of course, or the government's expense, of course.
Why, Alan, thank you very much. I think we'd enjoy that very much.
He picks up his comm. Jonas, could you reserve a table for 4 at the steakhouse, please? I presume that would be good enough for you all, gentlemen?
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Well, I have a couple of matters to attend to, so I will have Jonas take you over to the steakhouse, and then we can definitely talk about your ship and the next steps.
And that'll give you time to get our equipment through customs and bring it to us.
I can arrange for that. Yes. The journey did take here about an hour or so on the train, so you know that you'd probably need to have it sent to wherever you're ending up staying. And he'll okay. All right. So about 45 minutes later, you'll find yourself in a rather nice steak restaurant in the residential area. In the commercial area. This caters a mixture, all kinds of meat and obviously non-meat based products as well. So there's a lot of soy meat as well, that kind of stuff. You've got meat from many different worlds seem to be shipped in. How good they are, you don't know. Whether they'll be in pristine condition, again, you don't know. They do also have a number of very good fish steak cuts as well. You sit, enjoy, get a bottle of wine, beer, whatever, and then the minister kind of arrives in and kind of comes over and he sits down and, gentlemen, excellent. I'm glad to see you've ordered without me. I apologise for keeping you waiting. So there's a couple of things. I have managed to secure your goods from your lockers. They will be here and delivered to, and he gives you the name of a hotel. Your rooms for this evening have been paid for.
Why, thank you.
Courtesy of the Woolston government. Now, your ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, the thing is, yes, the former crew of the ship seem to have caused a little bit of an issue and damaged the ship quite significantly. As a result, they had to drop the ship wherever it was.
In the volcano?
In the crater of the volcano.
I knew you were going to say that.
I thought you meant to see, which is why I'm having the deep water breaker fish, steak. Because I want to eat it before it eats me.
Yes. Unfortunately, the ship is parked at the crater.
How far in the crater? Is it accessible?
It's a bit of a hike. I hope you are good at climbing. And yes, and then once you reach the top of the crater, it's a small walk, maybe 1 kilometre or so to the location we think the ship is.
Will our vac suits be able to protect us from
Yes,
the
we should be able
environment
to.
around there?
I think it'll protect you to some degree. I don't know it would protect you from being boiled alive by lava, but it would protect you from
the heat.
From the heat to
But
some
also
degree.
bear in
Yes.
mind that wearing a vac suit is going to be a nightmare climbing up there.
Vac suits cost 12 grand.
Yeah, I got one.
Did you?
Yeah.
You got 12 grand?
I got
Oh,
loads
me.
I've got
loads
10
of
grand.
money. Loads of money.
It was one of my benefits. I got some armour. So I chose a vac suit.
Yours is the
Gentlemen,
8 one, though, isn't it?
The nearest settlement to the volcano, Mount Silbari, is of course called Silbari. It lies on the western shore of the settlement island. It's about 20 kilometres north of the volcano. The mountain stands about 1,500 metres above sea level, rising directly from the coastal plain. There is a ridge that runs southeast by way of the footholds. And those who kind of live in its shadow often feel that that ridge makes it look way more imposing than it actually is.
Are they the Pompeians?
The Pompeians, yeah. It is not something the locals generally attempt to climb on a whim. We don't really have any mountaineers or mountain experts as such.
About the same size as Ben Nevis, just a little bit taller.
It's a mile high, isn't it?
Yeah. Walk up and down in a day.
Yeah.
We can certainly arrange for an off-road vehicle to meet you at Silbari and take you to the base of the mountain. Unfortunately, we have no air rafts that are available for use.
Well, that would have been our quickest and easiest way to get in there with an air raft, because that's how they got out, wasn't it?
But anti-grav belts, they'll do.
Yeah, jetpacks.
Fortunately, you're going to have to find your own way up the mountain.
Well, we need the ship no matter what, so
No biggie. Just walking up a mountain.
yeah.
What did you guys? What did you guys do in the military?
I'm a mate.
I was ground assault.
So walking up a mountain to
This would be nothing to you.
Marcus is not a problem.
I was Navy, and this would be nothing to me.
Why are you going to swim up there?
You were a scholar, weren't you, though, Brent?
Originally a scholar, yeah, then I did a brief stint in the Navy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was one
Okay.
of the what was the ground pounders? Basically pushed out the ship.
Yeah.
See the ship ran bigger than. Yeah, that's all I've done.
So
I couldn't get out of it. I had an injury or something. I couldn't escape the career. I was in it the whole time.
I wonder why you keep eating crayons.
Are there any climbing kits and things that you can get?
There are climbing kits that you can buy, yes, and it tells you that you could definitely find some of those locally, either here in the capital or at Salbari.
Yeah, when I said grab belts will do, the 10 grand.
Yeah.
I'd be quite happy with
What
it.
level are they?
Basic one is tech level 12. Improved
Yeah.
is 15.
Yeah, tech level 8 planet, not going to find one of those on here.
No.
All right, gents, we're going to call it there for the night, I think, because you're a little bit ahead of where I thought you might end up. I was expecting you to end up here, to know where the ship is, the task that you need to do, but you've arrived here a little bit quicker than I anticipated.
Sorry.
So we'll call it. No, it's fine.
I think what I'll need. Like, I've got a backpack. I'll need to get some actual survivalist gear and buy that. So I'll need to do that for next week.
No worries. So let's call it a night there. Hopefully you all enjoyed that this evening.
That was fantastic. Loved it.
Yep.
Next week it is climbing up the mountain.
If I am talking too much, just tell me, please.
No, it's fine. I feel half like I'm talking too much.
There's a heat-proof suit here that costs 100 credits. Tech level 8.
There you go. So not everything will be available, but you can certainly attempt to find things. So have a look at what you want to buy, and then we'll do a quick sort of shopping exercise, and then we'll get you on the mountain.
Well, my thing is they get off the ship into their raft without heat stuff, so we should be okay. In theory.
Depends that it's now a sea of fucking lava in the bottom of it.
Well, that could be true as well. Yeah. See, my other theory is if we take the 3,000, well, we're going to take 3,000, but we do the survey as well, but we don't have to go back through the port authority to pay the fines.
No,
we can just mention it to
we won't be paying the fines anyway.
No.
We'll just give them his name and say, there you go, contact him. Or we send him a tight beam and say, forward this money for your employees.
Exactly. I mean, it's not like being banned from this planet is going to be a bad thing, is it?
No.
Might have some lovely beachfront property we could buy.
Yeah, that's going to get a bit warm very soon.
Yeah.
I reckon they did a survey and went, shit, just get out of here.
Probably. And I went, shit. Stop nothing.
Meep. No, thank you very much for tonight. I've thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yes, thank you.
Cheers, buddy.
You're welcome, gents. I'm going to go get a drink. One of the things I think why we finished a little bit quicker is we didn't stop. We normally stop for 10-15 minutes, don't we? And we didn't tonight. So that makes a bit of a difference.
Yeah, it's almost 7 o'clock anyway, isn't it? It's 20 minutes.
It is. I mean, it's almost 10 o'clock. Yeah. Cool. All right, gents. It was an absolute pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going to take the server down because I think my good friend Jerry is back to running his Masks game. So, boom.
Awesome. I think I've recorded you all this week. If not, it's no baddie.